I want to help the white person understand Black Lives Matter for dummies, okay? I want you to think about sheep in a pen. You have a mixture of white and black sheep. They're all safe. But there's one black sheep that's out of the pen. Somehow it got out. And that sheep is not safe. It is in harm's way. In my thumbnail, I happen to use a wolf. It could be anything. But in this society that we're in, it's the white man that's the wolf. That life matters because it's in danger. But what do you see? The white sheep in this country, the MAGA, what about me? All lives matter. White lives matter. Of course they do. Of course all lives matter. But you're safe. You're not in harm's way. You're not getting racially profiled. Your house isn't being redlined. You're not being called the N-word. You're not having to give the talk to your kids to what to expect when a white cop at some point pulls you over. Your son wasn't a Ahmaud Arbery that was chased down by 3 white guys and shot. Your great-grandparents weren't a will. But your little puny little concepts of brains can't imagine a situation where the world doesn't revolve around your caucasity. Instead of focusing on the atrocity of what happened to George Floyd, and metaphorically, how the white man has put his knee on the black man since the inception of this country, you don't care about that. You didn't protest. You stood by in your privilege and found a way to be the victim. So what you did was you ignored the 93% of peaceful protests. Millions of people in this country stood up and said, this is enough. But not you. You had to be the victim. Ooh, look at the summer of love, the 7%. Yeah, and a lot of those were white people that caused it to be agitators because you want the focus to be on you. Right? How many people get triggered by Black History Month? Why in the hell would you get triggered by Black history? See, because you don't know history, or if you did, you don't care. Did you know that 1.2 million African Americans died in the Middle Passage? That the bull sharks followed the slave boats over and actually ate the bodies? Did you know that? No, you didn't, right? Because that would offend your whiteness. Did you know that black people were put in vats of sugar and then when they didn't listen, they got whipped in addition to that? Thousands of them were put in trees while white people went to church. Did you know about that? But you don't care. That's the problem. The only piece of history you care about is the Second Amendment. You don't care about the 3/5 clause or that this country was designed for white people or that black people weren't even citizens in the 1860s when the Supreme Court ruled. See, that's the problem. You don't want to actually see history, which is why the plantation owner, the Orange Clan leader, the convicted felon, by the way, because you care so much about law and order, took away black history as Smithsonian. Why? Because your white feelings are being hurt by actual history. Why do you think they took out CRT and DEI and you worship a racist podcaster? He was a shitty human being, okay? He was. He asked for the execution of Joe Biden. He said Kamala Harris wasn't black. He said she was the black Hillary, that black people are taking white jobs, the great white replacement theory. He was a shitty human being. Over 40,000 people die every year from gun violence. They all had fucking families. So spare me your white bullshit. But they cherry picked that one because why? Because it allowed them to be the white victim. Did you see them up in arms about Ahmaud Arbery being chased by 3 white guys? No. Why? Because they want to say that white lives matter. And that's really what it's about. They're triggered by Hispanic History Month and Asian History Month. They want it to be about them. That's why they're triggered by Black History Month. It's not because it's black history. It should be American history. It's because it doesn't allow them to be some kind of wannabe alpha, beta, toxic masculinity where he's a patriot with flags and guns and singing God Bless America and having dumbass UFC fights where they're all punching each other because I need to be a real man because that's their version of American exceptionalism. That's what this is really about. And until we come to grips with that, it's not going to matter if a Democrat or Republican is in the White House or in the Congress or the Senate, because that's what's really wrong with this country. Look at the cities, the mayors. Black, primarily. Racial profiling, people that aren't white. Stephen Miller's basically a Nazi. Says he wants 100 million people in this country, white. That's what Black Lives Matter means. And until more people that look like me say this, then we're never going to be a great country. And for those of you that still think that this was a great country, for who? What year? Huh? The Middle Passage? The Trail of Tears? Wounded Knee? Lynchings? 1,800 Asian Americans died in internment camps. Women couldn't have the right to do with their bodies, couldn't have credit, couldn't vote. This country's never been great for everybody except the white man. But even hearing that, your little puny pea brains, your concepts of brains, are breaking down. Because you've been indoctrinated by this country to say that it's the best of the best of the best of the best. And it hasn't been. Except for one demographic. Mine. Black Lives Matter. And if you don't like it, you can ship your ass back to England where you came from.
I hear a lot of talk from white people talking about how they have grown in a white supremacist or a racist family and they didn't know how to get out of that cloud or that umbrella, and they knew that if they spoke out about certain issues, they would probably be expelled from the family, or like people would not want to hang out with them, or their family will be like, no, you know what, we don't like you anymore, like get out of this family, you're not part of this family. And I just have a question. You know, if you're too afraid of maybe moving out of the cloud of your family, I just have one question. If you knew that the line that you're following is leading you to a swimming pool and you couldn't swim, if you know that the line that you're following, the people who you're following are literally going to hell, that is the end of the destination, it's hell, would you still follow those people? Would you? Or would you change your mind and actually be like, okay, let me wake up, let me clock in, and let me actually change my ways, change whatever I've been believing, change what I have been told, because I actually know that whatever I've been told does not sit well with my spirit and it doesn't actually make sense, because you cannot victimize yourself in a society that makes you superior. It literally gives you an upper hand to every other people and you trying to victimize yourself. That can't happen. And if you're a white person who actually believes this, like this man who we are going to see, obviously, we have seen in the beginning and are going to see in the next section of the video, is amazing, because you want white people to actually wake up. And it's amazing to see that there are white people who are not afraid to show up and show out for things that they believe in. If you actually believe and you see that black people are going through a lot, you get out and you actually support those people. Because if you believe something, why not support it? We know that white people protest over everything. They protest over everything. If they win, they protest. If they lose, they protest, especially in games or elections or something they don't like or like. They protest for each and everything. If gun laws are accepted, they protest because maybe they support it or they don't support it. Or if gun laws are not allowed to exist, they also protest. Like there's always protests with white people because you're all ready to speak your mind. So why is it a problem when it comes to actually speaking about inhumanity and a system that is actually favoring while still ambushing a certain people? Why do you sit down and say, you know what, because it doesn't affect me, it's fine? It will affect you, and it does affect you, because you're all living in one country. You are all living in that one country. And let me tell you, if the tables were to turn, I'm not saying they will, I'm not saying they have to, but probably one day they will. I'm not saying they will. Mind you, if they do, what happens then? I think that is why white people are so afraid of black people and what black people probably are capable of, or their power, because you do not know what black people can actually do with a certain kind of power. Let me tell you, let me put your minds at ease. Black people are not going to start doing the things that you have done. And that is why to now, you're seeing that so many black people only just protest peacefully on the streets. They do not do too much. It's only the police that come and, elevate a certain situation. They speak peacefully about what they want and they tell you that whatever you're doing is not right. They're not interested in fighting you over your rights. They're interested in fighting for their rights being the same as yours. The same way you're treated is how they want to be treated, as a human being, not as a liability and not as less of, as a human being. But before I give my full commentary, obviously I'm very passionate about this particular video. Let's dive in, listen to what the man has to say, and then we'll come back and talk about it. I'll see you shortly.
Nobody's going to save you from your racism. For you white people that are still wanting to find common ground and think that the libtards are going to save you, no. You're going to suffer the consequences of your racism alone. You just want to lead because you think that you're an alpha male. You're not. You just want to run your mouth. So if you really want to change, this is what I'm going to recommend. Shut your mouth and listen for once in your lives. Stop running your mouth about the libs and Antifa and 1776 and guns. If you truly want to grow, go follow the 92%. If you're serious about it, if your little pea brains can handle it, because you're about to jump into the deep end of the pool. You're eating checkers and they're playing chess. You go follow and listen to Black Woman. You're going to be shocked by how dumb you really are. You think you're an alpha male? Nah. You're still peeling off the skin of the onion. They're down in the core. You want to go follow some of them? And then we'll have this conversation in a few months. That's how you'll change. But I don't think you have the audacity to shut your mouth. But we'll see. If you really want to change, maybe for once, you should follow and listen instead of pretending to be a leader. That's the only way you're truly going to change. And then let's come back in a few months and have this conversation to see if you've actually changed. One of the reasons I started making videos was to address white supremacy. I want you to watch this 2-minute clip. It's important. When he's asked if this is a racist country, listen to his reaction, and then let's talk about it.
But a question that I never see mainstream white political figures asked: do you think America's a racist country?
That's a tough one. I mean, it's a loaded question in this respect. It's an easy question, right? From your perspective, from many people's perspectives. And it should be an easy question to answer. Racism persists in extraordinary ways. Institutionally, it's certainly enshrined in so many ways, and we've been trying to unpack that in deeply meaningful ways. And we're constantly dealing and battling with racism on a daily basis. And we're seeing the assault and the weaponization of race as it relates to all these anti-woke and DEI efforts coming in the Trump administration. So yes, there are deeply racist things that are going on all across the United States of America. Do I think fundamentally in our core, and that's why it goes to a more loaded and difficult question, I think the vast, overwhelming majority of people don't believe that they're racist, and don't honestly believe that this is a racist country, and that's challenging. And how we can communicate a more situational awareness.
But the reason why it's important is because we know that it is, right? We know that it is. We know that the foundation of the country was racism in America is older than America. Like, my ancestors were enslaved here before the English expatriates here decided to start their own country. And our utility in America has never, ever, ever been about our genius, about our perseverance, about our ability to achieve in the country. We've done all of that in spite of an effort on the soil where we exist to minimize us and kill us. And it seems as if we can't quite reconcile that if we don't agree that is a thing.
This is what I've been saying. The interviewer is completely right. There's too many white men in this country that don't want to have this conversation. And I'll be damned if this is the hill that I'm going to die on. If this is the purpose that I'm given in this life by God, then so be it. It doesn't matter who wins, Newsom. You are gaslighting people. You're not a stupid guy. You're not stupid. You know exactly what you're doing. You're playing political theater because you want to be president. But you're unwilling to deal with the root cause in this country, which is white supremacy. The 3/5 clause, the Trail of Tears, the Middle Passage, Jim Crow, Black Wall Street, Asian internment camps. Everybody that doesn't look like us has been shit on. And you don't even have the balls to say it because you want to win an election in a couple of years. Great. Let's say you win. Then what? Racism is still here because you decided to push it under the rug. And that's exactly why we're here as a country. This is our sin as a nation of pushing the lost cause under the carpet. We let these losers that got their asses kicked worship Robert E. Lee, a racist piece of shit, may he rot in hell, because he wanted to own black people. And we said, come on back, whatever, no consequences here. And we just let it go. And we had the perception that we were making progress since the civil rights movement. But all we did was push it back. We suppressed it. We pushed it behind a dam. And then they found their Klan leader. He wears orange makeup and diapers, who cheats on his wife, who's a rapist and a convicted felon. But he's the right type of white man because he says the racist stuff out loud. And he opened up the floodgates on the dam, and all that racism, it all flooded out. That's exactly what this is. Stephen Miller wants 100 million white people. The rapist in chief, right? Very fine people on both sides. Nick Fuentes, a white supremacist in his house. Is Barack Obama, was he born here? Asking for the execution of the Central Park Five, not writing to black people. What do you have? The racist podcaster. Oh, Harris is Black Hillary. She's not black. Oh, the blacks are taking white jobs. Black people aren't smart enough. He's a racist piece of shit too. That's what the DEI, CRT, taking away slavery in the Smithsonian. This isn't rocket science, people. Almost all of the mayors that he's going after are black. When they're doing the ICE raids in Chicago, what is it? It's not white people that are being woken up at 2 a.m. by Black Hawk helicopters and snatched out of their beds naked. No, it's non-white people. LA, guess what? Racially profiling who? Non-white people. That's what this is. That's what it's always been. That's how this country was designed. And we still are refusing to admit it. Mainstream media, left, right wing, they're all doing it because they want you to be angry at each other and yell and scream and rage bait. That's what get likes and views. That's exactly what Newsom's doing. I don't like Newsom at all. He went to the French Laundry while we were in a COVID shutdown and had dinner with his rich, snobby ass friends. When Xi Jinping came over, you know what he did? He told all the homeless people to get off the streets so he can make a photo op. Did he fix the homeless problem? No. Screw you, Newsom. You want to be a leader? Fix the damn problem. Don't do it for a video thing. And then what do? You want to go more to the right. So you have Steve Bannon, a convicted felon. Hey, bro. What's up, bro? Hey, man. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Yeah, I know you voted for a rapist, but hey, come on here. Let's find common ground. You are nothing more than a cosplay politician. That's all you are. With your fancy smile and your nice cemented hair, whatever the fuck you got in your hair, God only knows. You're what's wrong with this country. You still can't admit why we're here. It's white supremacy, Newsom. Why don't you grow a sack and actually say that? And then let's have a conversation.
I actually support what Newsom said about racism being so ingrained into America that most white people do not actually believe they're racist or actually believe that racism is a bigger deal than, how black people portray it. Like they feel like it's being overdone, like you're doing too much. It's not that big of a deal. And it's true, because when something has been sewn into the foundation of a country, and every time that, more people are getting born, this is the same thing that they're being taught, this is the same thing that they're being taught. It's more of like a normalization of something. So most of the time you will believe that whatever you're doing is actually right, because if it has already been existing before and it is still existing and will probably exist, because I'm going to probably teach the same things to my white kids and to my white nieces and nephews and grandkids, then it shouldn't matter. I think that is what maybe Newsom was trying to say. Like, it is so difficult for a white person to actually understand the heavy nature of racism because they don't suffer through it. They are on the other side. They get to enjoy their peace and their lives. And they do not quite understand that racism is actually a really, really serious thing. And it should be one of the things that are changed. When someone comes into power, racism, their first thing their first thing should be making sure that everyone is treated accordingly. You cannot tell me that you're a president of a country which has so many different and diverse people, but you want to rule over this one community. How? Even though that one community voted for you, you are still the president over all those people. It doesn't matter. You cannot bring emotions to a presidential seat. That's crazy, you know? Like, you're literally the only person who should be like the most corporate person in the world, like no feelings, just actually doing your work the way you're supposed to, serving these people because they put you on that seat, not engaging with people all the time and being so emotionally, invested in everything that people say when they tell you that whatever you're doing is not right. That is not how you president. That is not how you become a president. And you see, one of the problems with America is you can't make a difference. You cannot say that you want to cook a certain meal a certain way or a different way than the way you've been doing it if you are not going to change the recipe. That can never happen. If you're still using the same recipe, you're going to get the same end results. And that's why there is such a big thing about changing the systems of America, because the systems of America were built for white people. They weren't built for any other people. That is why when Obama came to sit, when he was a president and was chosen again, yes, he did make amazing changes. He's literally considered one of the best presidents in America. That is fine. But you come to see that he couldn't really get the black people to a certain place where they are treated the same as white people. And that's why right now you're seeing with Trump, things have gone back to the way they were. Like, white privilege is now prevalent in America, where white people are now speaking up and they're being racist out in the open. They don't even care anymore. They're not even hiding anymore. They're being racist out in the open. They don't care. And it is because the system has not changed. Even if we elect 10 more black presidents and maybe even Hispanics and whatever, like, if you continue to elect people maybe from a minority group and you expect them to make a change, especially for your community, a certain change, meaning that you try and make racism stop existing, or you remove these people from being treated a certain way to actually being treated the same way every other person is treated in that country. It cannot quite work because the recipe is the same. If the recipe wants you to put cinnamon and you put cinnamon, you will get the same results. Like, there is nothing you're going to be able to change. So actually coming from a point of white people actually wanting to change the systems, and you see now that is where white people draw the line. And mind you, when I say white people, I'm not talking about every white person. I'm talking about the white supremacist and the white people who actually see that black people are being tormented and they're not being treated well, or being treated the same way that white people are being treated. They are those white people. I'm talking about those ones, the arrogant ones and the ignorant ones, the ones who do not want to do anything because they're just not feeling it, And for those specific ones, those are the ones I'm talking about. You see that anytime that black people want to talk about certain things, they're always quiet, they don't want to talk, and then they'll come to the comment sections of black people talking about their own issues and they want to now support in the comment sections, but they will not support you in the streets. They will not support you in public. You cannot you cannot support someone in darkness and you want them to talk about you in the light. That can never happen. The same way you embarrass someone in public, they should embarrass you in public too. Like, you cannot embarrass someone in public and then you want them to embarrass you in private. That can never happen, Like, white people need to have a backbone, because when you come to realize that actually the things that you were taught, they actually make you weaker as a person, because you were taught that because you have a white skin, you matter more than everyone else. How are you going to bring something out of yourself when you're told that because you have a white skin, from the day you were born to now, things should just come easily for you? How can you actually make something out of yourself? This is why I continue saying that white people, as much as they deny it, you have also been conditioned to fight a war that is not even yours. This war is not yours. This war was put there to distract you from actually looking into the serious things that are actually affecting your country. They are distracting you from actually asking the 1% questions. They're distracting you so that you can have these minor silly fights when they continue eating and eating and eating and filling their stomachs and continue stealing and stealing and stealing and instilling things that you do not want them to do. They are still putting things in place that you do not want. They are not serving you. They're not serving your community. They're not even serving the other people. But you're fighting those people and you're going to suffer together. Right now, prices are going up. You think black people are the only ones who are getting affected? You think Hispanics and Latinas are the only ones who are getting affected? White people too. Even the ones who voted for Trump. All of you guys are getting affected together. And until you realize that your mind is literally being carried around, your mind is in the back pockets of these people, and they have an off and on switch for you guys. So that when they press this, you just erupt without even thinking. Have a backbone, have your own mindset. You cannot be told a certain thing. And this is why black people are who they are right now. They still have a joy. They still have a spark inside them because they realize that whatever they had been taught by white history and by white people is not actually who they are. You cannot be something that you are. If you're not telling your own story, someone else is telling you a story about you. How can you believe that story? How can you believe it? Like actually choosing, and even if you are told and you actually believe it, when you grow up, you realize that it doesn't actually serve you. Why don't you leave it behind, and start living in a way that you believe is right for you? If you're a grown up, you can choose to do whatever you want. You can choose to be whoever you want to be. And that's why we have so many people doing so many diverse things. People have yellow color. I have purple colored hair because I like it. There are someone who has orange. There's someone who has black, brown. And that is fine. If we are all the same, it will be boring, Having your own mind and choosing your own way is beautiful and it's amazing. You cannot continue following a path that you don't like just because majority of the people are following it. Majority of the people who look like you are following it. When you know deep down inside that journey, that path does not make you happy at all. And having this victim mentality and believing everything you're told by Trump and other white people so that it supports your opinion is you choosing to be ignorant because you actually know that what they're saying is not true. And we have actually seen this when reporters go to the streets and they're going to the Trump supporters and asking them questions. And then they do not say who committed a crime, but they ask about the crime. Like, for example, when Trump said that if his daughter was not his daughter, he could have done something. So a Trump supporter is asked, Biden said this and that and that and this. He said that if his daughter, the same question. And they're like, why? That is some pedophilic type shit. I do not like that. That is bad. That is disgusting. And then they're like, oh, sorry. We actually didn't mean Biden. We meant Trump. And then all of a sudden they switch up. They're like, oh, Trump said it. Oh, I don't think he meant it like that. There's so many ways you can explain something. That means you have been brainwashed. That means you have been conditioned. And if you are an offspring of such a person, because that person you cannot even try, because if you're an old person thinking like that, we cannot even talk with you. You're gone. It's fine. It's okay. You're one of the ones we lost on the way. It's fine. But if you are a child of such a person, and you're living in a world where there's technology, there's a multitude of information. You can get anything, anywhere you want. And you still choose to follow that person because they're your mom, they're your dad. Huh? Even it's not right. And especially now where you can get information of everything and anything you like, you can actually search about your history, white history. You can search about black history. You can learn about all these things. You cannot tell me that in the 21st century you're following what you were told just because you were told that thing that they were doing is right. You cannot tell me that. Right now we are choosing our own paths. And if you're a white person who is racist right now, change your ways, darling, because you'll end up in a place that you don't like. I didn't say where. So Well, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for, clicking back and watching me again. Thank you. I truly support your support. I truly appreciate your support. Sorry. And I hope to see you again in the next video. Kindly consider subscribing, sharing, and liking. Share to your friends and family so that we can continue to laugh, grow, and learn together because we are a family. Okay, and I hope to see you in the next video. Or if you'd like to support me in another way, I do have a buy me a coffee link down in the description. If you'd like to support me that way, I will truly appreciate it, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.